Welcome to Sunset News on this Friday evening. Now, the next 30 minutes will bring you local news, community news, international news, sports news, story of the day, economic news, and indicators, as well as the weekend's weather forecast. I am Glenn Rashipura, and I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast. Now, first up in the news tonight, 10 days after President Hage Geingob announced an easing of entry requirements for fully vaccinated travelers into Namibia, the Ministry of Health and Social Services clarified what fully vaccinated means. Now, Geingob announced on March 15th that fully vaccinated travelers are no longer required to produce a negative PCR test result upon arrival at a Namibian point of entry, but are instead required to present an authentic, valid vaccination card at point of entry. Now, according to Ben Nangombe, Executive Director at MOS, a fully vaccinated individual is an adult 18 years and older that received 2 doses of a 2-dose vaccine or 1 dose of a 1-dose vaccine 14 days prior to the date of entry into Namibia. Now, children 12 years and older should also meet this requirement. Nangombe explicitly notes that a booster vaccine is not a requirement for entry into Namibia. Now, the country's regulator for auditors has insinuated a probe to an unregistered audit firm that compiled the recently released financial report of the All People's Parties. Now, the Electoral Act compels all political parties that receive public funds by virtue of being in Parliament to make their finances public annually. Now, according to Section 158(4)(c) of the Electoral Act of 2014, political parties must have their books audited by an auditor registered in line with the PAA Act. Now, APP on Tuesday published its 2015 to 2020 abridged financial statements. Now, the financials were signed off by NPS Business Consultancy. Public Accountants and Auditors Board head Zana Shanti on Wednesday confirmed the probe. Now, NPS Business Consultancy is not registered with the PAAB and may not hold themselves out to be auditors in Namibia. An unregistered person/firm that holds themselves out to the public as an external auditor is in contravention of Section 22 of the Public Accountants and Auditors Act number 51 of 1951 as amended, he said. Now, an internal police inquiry is underway after police officers fatally shot 2 suspected armed robbers near Rundu on Monday. Now, Kavango East Police Crime Coordinator, Deputy Commissioner Bonifacius Kanyetu confirmed the incident and probe. Now, a case of murder had to be opened because there was loss of life. Now, the investigation is underway to determine what really happened and whether the actions of the officers were justifiable, Kanyetu said. Now, the police declined to say at this stage how many officers were involved in the shooting and how many have been charged. Now, Kanyetu said the suspects were shot after they did not stop their vehicle at a mobile roadblock. Now, the police claimed that the suspect produced firearms and pointed it at police at the scene, who responded by firing their weapons. Now, once the investigation is complete, the report will be handed over to the Office of the Prosecutor General to decide whether to prosecute anyone. Now, the Namibian Police Force on Thursday arrested Walter Mostert at the Noord-Oewer border post and after escaping from lawful custody on 5 November last year. Now, NAMPO spokesperson Deputy Commissioner Kauna Shikwambi made the announcement late Thursday evening. The former magistrate, a wanted person in the name of Mostert Walter, who escaped from hospital some months ago while under police guard, was arrested today at Noord-Oewer border post while trying to sneak into Namibia from South Africa, Shikwambi said without providing further details. Now known as Royes, Mostert escaped from a Windhoek medical facility where he was treated under police watch. He stands accused of money laundering, extortion, and fraud. Now, Nedbank Namibia, who in April is having the first of its kind for the Namibian property market, located on Dr. Franz Indongo Street, it is situated in the heart of Windhoek's commercial center. This modern building spans over 5 floors. Now, the auction will take place on the 20th of April 2022 at 12 p.m. and will be held at the office of Ocor Namibia in Windhoek. Now, several threats have been made to vaccination teams and regional directors, part of the Ministry of Health and Social Services, while several voice notes and audio on various media platforms representing certain group of people against vaccination alleges outside entities pay the ministry's leadership to coerce people to get vaccinated as part of a depopulation agenda. Now, Executive Director Mr. Ben Nankompe described the claims as detrimental to the fight against COVID-19 and devoid of any truth. Now, Nankompe warned that it only serves to confuse the public and warned that laws are in place that deal with the spread of false information. Now, up next in community news, we speak to the Namibia Housing Action Group who speak to Yana Marie Smith, and the Road Authority is preparing for the Easter weekend. More on this right after the break.
Go far with Paratus. Go further with Paratus Fiber. Paratus offering high-speed, reliable fiber connectivity, starting from only 599 Namibian dollars per month. Unlimit your lifestyle and visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Let's take a look at our community talk. Now, Heinrich Amushela of the Namibia Housing Action Group speaks to Yana Marie Smith about the relentless growth of informal settlements, the challenges faced by Namibians living in them, and what must be done to tackle the problem. Let's have a look at this video on that.
For housing, you need many hands to pull together so that we can build more houses in this country. It's really getting out of hand. A country with so many resources, we need to do more so that we can assist the poor. I think that gap between the rich and the poor, it's just continue widening. It's not narrowing. My name is Amushila Heinrich. I'm the co-director for Namibia Housing Action Group, an organization that supports the work of the Shack Dweller Federation of Namibia. The Shack Dweller Federation of Namibia is a network of saving groups organized in most urban centers in Namibia. We have over 1,000 saving groups currently organized in the whole of Namibia, and we have over 34,000 members who have saved over 34 million. That is their general and land saving. When land becomes available, the members will then buy land from the local authorities. I think it has become evident the informal settlement has really grown. You have seen the mushrooming of informal settlement. It's really a very big problem, and most of the communities are really pushing that they want to have their own land because the situation in the informal settlement is very, very bad. People don't have access to sanitation. Water is now there, but then people want their own toilets. They want their own water taps at home. The living condition, people living in shacks, it's really a tough life. I think people are really suffering. The situation in the informal settlement is really very bad and it needs to be addressed. We are working with various organizations under the umbrella of the National Alliance for Informal Settlement Upgrading. Each organization is bringing their skills so that we can scale up the upgrade of informal settlement. We are working with the Ministry of Urban and also Ministry of Water, Agriculture and Land Reform through the flexible land tenure that must provide titles to the homeowners. I think the solution is within the community. When we upgrade, many communities participate in the upgrade of this informal settlement. I think what we need is resources from government, resources from private sector. I think if all partners or stakeholders come together and pull resources together, I think we will be able to scale up the informal settlement upgrading in our country.
In economic news tonight, we look at the repo rate increase in South Africa and its effects on Namibia. More on this story right after the break.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
We know that violence against women and girls is pervasive everywhere in the world. So now imagine a conflict breaks out, or a natural disaster happens, or a global pandemic like the one we have seen since 2020 breaks out. Institutions are often focused on addressing this crisis. And in conflict settings, some of the institutions that are responsible for protecting women's rights collapse. The United Nations and UN Women work around the world to address some of these challenges. We make sure that women and girls who are victims of violence access services, including justice, health, psychosocial support, and reintegration. We also work to address the root causes that generate violence, for example, addressing harmful social norms and masculinities.
Welcome back to Sunset News. Let's take a look at our economic news. Local analysts expect the Bank of Namibia to follow suit in order to prevent outflow of capital from Namibia to South Africa. At the last monetary policy announcement, the central bank increased the repo rate by 25 basis points from 3.75% to 4.00%, leading to prime lending rate of 7.75% for local commercial banks. The next monetary policy announcement is expected to take place on 13th April 2022, Philippus Usiku reports. Next up, let's have a look at our economic indicators. Now, the Namibian dollar is down against most major currencies and trades at 14.57 Namibian dollars for $1. There is little movement on the Namibia Stock Exchange. First Rand is down by 0.10% and now trades at 29.50 cents. Oryx Properties and Trustco stock are also down, Trustco with 6.3%. The local and overall indexes are also down. On the commodities market, gold, copper and Brent crude oil are all down, with zinc up with 0.2%. After the break, we take a look at the weekend's weather for Namibia. To stay with us. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. As promised, here's the weather prediction for Saturday. In the north, Oshakati and Ruakana is very hot at 34 and 33 degrees respectively. In the capital, the minimum will be 14 degrees and the maximum 25 degrees. At the coast, temperatures will vary between 15 and 22 degrees. Ariansle is the hottest at 34 degrees. Now on Sunday, we can expect the following. On Sunday, the far north is very hot with Oshakati reaching 36 degrees. In the east, Hobabes varies between 15 and 29 degrees. Some clouds at the central coast. Ariansle is still the hottest in the south at 35 degrees. Now in the international news slot up next, we look at the situation in Ethiopia. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Let's take a look at our international news. Ethiopia's government has declared an indefinite humanitarian truce effective immediately, saying it hoped to help hasten delivery of emergency aid into the Tigray region, where hundreds of thousands face starvation. Since war broke out in northern Ethiopia in November 2020, thousands have died and millions remain displaced as the conflict has expanded from Tigray to the neighboring regions of Amhara and Afar. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government is committed to exert maximum effort to facilitate the free flow of emergency humanitarian aid into the Tigray region, it said in a statement on Thursday. Government spokesperson Legace Tudu told the Reuters news agency the truth was unilateral. Now, this is just a government decision to protect our citizens from danger, he said. We hope the other side will do the same. More than 400,000 people have been displaced in the war-ravaged northern province of Tigray, according to the United Nations. Now, the region has also been subject to what the UN has said a de facto blockade. Nearly 40% of the people in Tigray, a region of 6 million people, face an extreme lack of food, the UN said in January, with fuel shortages forcing aid workers to deliver medicines and other crucial supplies by foot. Now, in sport news, after the break, we talk boxing, netball, cricket, desert festival, and karting. More on this right after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
We can prevent violence against women before it happens. It means tackling the root causes of violence, working with men and boys to end power over women, which is often normalized and justified. Transforming these root causes and preventing violence needs political commitment and leadership, laws and policies that promote gender equality, investments in women's organizations, and resources for prevention work. But prevention also starts with you. You can start by educating yourself. Speak out when you get a chance. Advocate for survivors' rights and always listen to survivors. Preventing violence against women and girls before it actually happens is the most effective way of ending it. So let's start now.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now let's take a look at your sports. Jeremiah Loki Nakatila has vowed to put the Mexican Miguel Bachelet to a great test after the two boxers faced off on Thursday in Las Vegas, United States of America. Now, the non-title lightweight bout will take place tomorrow as the Namibian hopes to end the country's drought of winning boxing matches on U.S. soil. Now, Nakatila insists that he is in the best of shape and will give the Mexican and the crowd a fight to remember. The Commerce Netball Region League resumes this weekend with the first fixture of the weekend slated for this afternoon. Wanderers and Unam Jaguars will battle at 6:30 p.m. at the United Sports Field, while Lingua Blue Eagles face off against the United at Court B. Commerce Netball Region Chairperson Dimitri Bitler has welcomed the return of action following the independence break. He believes the players are ready given that they had the whole week to prepare. Now, in other action, the Richelieu Franchise T20 also continues with the semi-finals and finals. Namibia Media Holdings Network TV will broadcast the final live on Sunday. The weekend will be filled with top action, with the Indongo Toyota Desert Festival reaching its climax. Now, the Desert Festival that commenced on Wednesday, which has seen 15 schools battling for top honors, will conclude tomorrow. Now, the NMSF karting is also set to take place at the Tani Rust racetrack in Windhoek on Saturday. Bradley Ferreira, who is the motoring chairman, will be giving the welcoming remarks before Namibia Sports Federation President Daniel Shongaroro delivers main message. Up next, we'll bring you your highlights. To stay with us.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #PayBackTheMoney.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, here are our top stories. 10 days after President Hage Geingob announced an easing of entry requirements for fully vaccinated travelers into Namibia, the Ministry of Health and Social Services clarified what fully vaccinated means. Nana Ngombe explicitly notes that a booster vaccine is not a requirement for entry into Namibia. The country's regulator for auditors has instituted a probe to an unregistered audit firm that compiled the recently released financial report of the All People's Parties. Now, the Electoral Act compels all political parties that receive public funds by virtue of being in Parliament to make their finances public annually. And now an internal police inquiry is underway after police officers fatally shot 2 suspected armed robbers near Rundu on Monday. Once the investigation is complete, the report will be handed over to the Office of the Prosecutor General to decide whether to prosecute anyone. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.